is, quite frankly, a extraordinary painter, but he's also very much a extraordinary human being, an individual with whom I've worked with over the last couple of years. And when I was asked who I should, about interviewing somebody, I thought this is somebody who needed to be interviewed, because this was somebody who is, in a very subtle way, is an extraordinary Haitian painter that learned to paint or began painting in New York, but also that he was a person who thinks about Haitian society in really very deep ways, and that as an artist he is preoccupied with not just art but preoccupied with Haiti, as a place in the Caribbean, that from which he works from, but from which he thinks we need to understand, both historically, culturally, as well as politically. So welcome, Ralph, to this interview, and really thank you very much for agreeing to do this.
Yeah,
And I want to begin the interview with a question, which is, a banal question, but which is a really important question for an artist, is when did you start to paint and why?
well, I started painting in 1971 when I got a scholarship at the National Academy School of Fine Arts in New York. In fact, I went to New York expecting to go to college, and I got that scholarship at the National Academy, and the rest is history.
Why were you in New York? Was it just to go to college, or did your family have to leave, had to flee Haiti?
That's right. My family left Haiti in 1965 or 66. Um, it was a voluntary exile after my mother's family was executed in Jeremy in 1964. And then they went to New York, and I was terminating my high school, so I stayed behind. And I went to join my parents in 1971, and that's how I got to the National Academy.
So you grew up in Haiti, basically,
Yes,
and
I left Haiti. I was 18.
and you did not paint at all, or you were not interested in art while you were living in Haiti as a young boy and teenager.
Oh, I used to draw in classes. When the class was boring, I was drawing profiles of the other students, and that was about it. In fact, that's how I got my scholarship, because when I was in New York in an English class, I was drawing the other students, and the English teacher saw it, and he proposed that I go look for a scholarship at the National Academy and the Art Student League. I went to the academy, got the scholarship, and I stayed there.
Okay, so you begin to you were drawing in were you in both in high school in Haiti or in secondary school, and you were also drawing in New York, drawing
Uh,
students.
uh, no, in Haiti, I was just doing free and drawing with no teaching. I didn't have any course in drawing. Uh, so while I did the same thing in an English class in New York, the teacher saw it, and he got uh, he got me the address of the school, and that's when I went there. They asked me a few drawings, and I went home, did some drawings, and when I got back, I got the scholarship.
Did you did you think you would ever be an artist, say when you were 17, 18 years old?
No, I mean, when I got the scholarship, my mother said, I thought I was going to be an architect. And my mother said, you got the scholarship, just try it. And then I tried it.
Mhm. Do you have any regrets about that?
Oh, no. No. I wouldn't change my life for anything else.
So that's great. Now, what was it like living in New York at that time? And what years are you talking about?
I was in New York between 1971 and 1976.
Mhm.
So I think it was an interesting time because I think I was a privileged person in New York uh, because of the fact that I spoke French. Uh, so that opened doors for me, I would say. And there was a lot of Haitians in New York. There is a community, a very important community that fled the Duvalier regime. So I felt home. Yeah.
What's it like? Were you all, what did you consider yourself part of that Haitian community that had fled the Duvalier regime? Did you have relationships with say, children, would say young men your age in that whose parents had also fled the regime?
Oh yeah, most of the people in New York were people who had fled either for political or economical reasons.
Hmm.
And so we had a Haitian community that's very important. And it was interesting. And I had some American friends too. So it was
But what was it like to live in New York at that time in the 1970s? I mean, you're living in a period in which there's the Black Arts movement in the United States is beginning
yeah,
to
but
gain.
I should say that I didn't really know much about the Black Art movement until my instructor advised me to go look at other people to get, because he realized that I wasn't following the classical curriculum, that I really had something else that I wanted to say. So he advised me to go to library to look at painters. And that's when I discovered Charles White,
Hmm.
and particularly a book of drawing he had that called Images of Dignity,
Yes.
which kind of blew my mind because that's what I wanted to paint, images of dignity. And it said something to me, and I looked into it, and I looked into Goya and the Mexican muralist. So that was what turned me on. When I saw Siqueiros painting the Cry at the Museum of Modern Art, I mean that was unbelievable. So that's the expressive aspect of my work. I think is inspired from these things.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about your attraction to Charles White, and particularly that really magnificent set of paintings, images of dignity, and which is really about the dignity of Black people, particularly Black men.
Mhm.
And I want to ask you, what is it that drew you to those works, and to Charles White's work?
I don't know. It's the human aspect of it. It's there is a lot of depth into it, and it talked to me because it's kind of it has some of the things that I wanted to look for. Uh, it's positive and it says something. It's like I would say it was kind of what I was into socially, I would say.
So is it that what you're preoccupied with the dignity of Black people and of Haitians in particular? Is that you think why the work spoke to you in that way?
I would say so. Generally, I'm a very social person, very concerned person about anything that we Haiti, the history of Haiti, and I suppose the same thing is in all countries in the Caribbean
Mhm.
with slavery and fight for liberty and stuff like that. It talked to me.
But these are also very large works. Is that where you got the idea that your ideal, or where a lot of your work should be really almost at a level of being murals, as large as mural paintings.
Well, it's because I think there is so much to say. Eh, the more space you have, the more you can put into it. Because it's not just an image that I want to paint. I want to paint an atmosphere. So you have to have space to, otherwise you, everything, sometimes I start the painting, I start small and then it grows on me.
I like the idea of painting an atmosphere. What does, can you talk a little bit about that? What does it mean for you to paint an atmosphere, not just an image?
Yeah, that's funny. In Haiti, there is a school of uh, beauty
Mm-hmm.
where people paint to make it look nice. But I always, when they put me into that school of beauty, I always say, I think I go beyond beauty. I go into more depth. But to that, they answer me, but your search is a search of harmony. So you still, it's still beautiful, even if it's profound and depth, more interesting. But the way you put it, it's still beauty.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to go deep into things, and not just beauty is not just skin deep. Beauty is an atmosphere. It's everything else. And I think I'm very preoccupied with everyday life and how to change that everyday life. And it's like I have it tattooed on my soul.
I like that phrase, tattooed on your soul, which then comes out in your expressive paintings. Could you just talk about the influence of Mexican muralists on your work? Because I think you also went to Mexico, if I remember,
Uh,
um, for a
I went to
while.
Mexico on vacation, but Mexico on vacation just to look at the painting mostly
Mhm.
because I wanted to see the things that I've seen in books in real life. And I was amazed. It was amazing to see all those big surfaces, which we don't have in Haiti, the opportunity to do murals. So it's like a frustration that I put in those big works that I'm doing now is to cope with that frustration. Although I have done a few murals, but really not enough. Like after the Duvalier was gone in 1986, I wanted to have a program of murals to put that moment in images in Port-au-Prince, and all my other artist friends that I wanted, that I talked to it about, they said, just let the people express themselves. If we try to go to coach them to have uh, it will lose its spontaneity. And it never got to be a reality. Although these days now, there are a lot of streets, murals, uh, graffitis in Haiti that is being done. Uh, but it's not like the murals, really tough murals. But it's still a movement that kind of comes to life anyway.
So yeah, I mean, is this a movement that you were part of that wanted to paint, do murals at various venues of executions and massacres across Haiti?
Actually, there was after in 1986, after the Duvalier was overthrown,
Mhm.
there was like an explosion, and people would paint all their neighborhoods
Okay.
with anything, you know. And I think that it was a moment of history that could be immortalized. And but the idea didn't get any respond to make it an organized thing. So they did it anyway in all their neighborhoods. They had anything, but not something structured with a prominent artist.
Okay. But let's backtrack a bit. When did you leave New York to go to Haiti?
I left New York in
Return.
1976. Yeah, at the end of 1976. And in fact, I left New York. because there was a jury for muralists, a professional muralist, who saw the work that I've done on Martin Luther King as I was a student, and they wanted to give me a scholarship. And for that, I had to be an American citizen, which I wasn't.
Mhm.
So the staff of the school kept pressuring me to get a citizenship to get the grant. And I thought that no, I'm going back home, and I packed my things and I left.
And when you went back to when you returned to Haiti, what did you do? How did you continue painting?
Well, when I went to Haiti, I contacted a few galleries. I showed them my work, and some of them were interested in having shows. And I had a couple of one-man shows, and that's the way it picked up.
Did the co- did in when you returned, did the content and style of your work change in any way?
Well, I think it got more complex, I would say. But I still, since I started, because if you look at the painting I did on Martin Luther King, you can see that it's the same structure of the ones that I'm doing now. So I think I had my style uh,
Mhm.
already in mind, and as had got I would say more practice, I became more comfortable with it.
I think we froze. I think we have a slight problem here with.
But where did it stop?
Well, we were talking, Ralph, about when you got back to Haiti, what was your style of did your style change?
Yeah. So when I got back to Haiti, I went to a couple of galleries and they were interested in my work because was kind of new. And I had a couple of one-man shows and I stayed there for a while until now.
Mhm. Okay, let's look at some of the look at some of the work. Um, can we begin to look at can we look at the first one? Um, yeah, this one, this first one is Justice and Reparations. It's. Can you tell us when was this done? You recall?
Actually, this painting was done after the coup that General Avril had
Mm-hmm.
orchestrated, and there were a lot of street demonstrations, street uprising, and it was really chaos for a while. And people start saying that they didn't overthrow Duvalier to have other dictatorships, and people took to the street. There was repression, and it became really violent, and there was the necklacing and all this thing, and people really there are a lot of people who died from that, and that's that kind of violence of that time that I kind of put into it. If you read it from left to right, you can
Mm-hmm.
see the army, the violence, the tombs, crosses, and the
Yeah.
fallen people on the bottom, the sorrow, the rock throwing on top in the middle, and they're asking for justice and reparation. There is a little clin d'oeil, I would say, of my uncle in the pole where he was executed, and
Mm-hmm.
there is that big face open for the freedom of speech,
Mm-hmm.
and there is the tire on the bottom right part for the necklacing, and on the right side on top there is Dessalines,
Mm-hmm.
which is the symbol of that liberty that we were looking for.
Okay. One of the things about your paintings, Ralph, is that there's always in somewhere in them a face that dominates. Uh,
Mhm.
what what's that about? How do you, as an artist, what is it you're trying to do with that? You think?
I think that what it is that I want to have in a composition something that catches the eye of of a viewer, who like invites you into the painting. So it's like an invitation, like the big face talks to you, and
Mhm.
then you go into the painting. Then you like it's up dropping into the painting and get into the different things that goes into it. You have
Mhm.
to follow the path of all those images to get an understanding of what's going on in it.
Okay, let's look at the second one. This is. Could you talk a little bit about this? This to me is one of your most remarkable pieces of a remarkable body of work,
This is,
which really illustrates that you are very much a artist who's preoccupied with both the social and the political,
well,
in a modern way. So let's talk a bit about this
I think
piece.
this painting is, if not the most, but one of the most personal paintings that I've painted,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a page of my life that it illustrates, as the title says, Jeremy Town Martyr, is the story of what happened to my mother's town when that execution of at least 27 people of three families were executed after a group of freedom fighters invaded that zone. Uh, and some of them were from Jeremy, and when they knew who they were, they kind of killed everybody from their families. All their relatives were executed. So my mother's side of the family. And since then, Jeremy is like a ghost town. It never recuperated from that because everybody fled Jeremy. And see, if you go to Jeremy now, it's in decay. It's like a wreck all over. And if you look at the bottom part of the front of the painting, it's at the same time it's soil, it's dirt, but there is a human form in it. And it was said that all those the women that were executed, everybody was kind of put naked, and some of them they said were violated and stuff. So I think that it's like a body that's wrecked and torn apart. To me, that's what it is. I don't know if that's what you see, but that's what I kind of.
That's what I see. But I also, I mean, there's a preoccupation with Jermaine in your work. I mean, you have written a book because you're not just a painter now. You have written a book about this, about honor, of the men and the women who participated. And could you talk a little bit about that book since and your uncle in particular?
Uh, well, actually, the book is. I tried not to. How would I say that? Write a book. I
Mhm.
just had a lot of documents that I'll share in that book, and I let people talk, and I just pass the memory. You see, uh, the book has different parts on it. There is a part that talks about the fight that these guys had put against the army and the militia. Uh, then I talked about the Jeremy Vespers when they executed all these people. I talked about it, and even there was a professor in an American university who had made a lot of research about the Vespers, and he has 10 pages in the book. And I talked to witnesses, people who have learned about it and who were there. They talked about it. And I also talked to the relatives of these people. the 13 freedom fighters. So I have a portrait of them in that. And I also found the publications that they had at that time in the 60s. So I talked about uh, all the publication that I have are transcript in the book so that people can feel what it was, what were the ideas, what dreams they had for Haiti. So it's more documents than a personal opinion.
Yeah. So what, I mean, would it be safe to say, Ralph, that what you've done is attempted to put together a document of a very important period of Haitian history, a period that you paint about, but you now want to you also now want to make the documents available to us to look at?
Well, actually, the part that I painted was an opinion, but that the book is a page of history in all its the reality of it and the truth about it, and it's not just something that I have to say about it. It's how do you say that? It's a page of history.
Yeah, but your painting is also, you're also painting history in Haiti. Some of, you're painting the modern history of Haiti, which I think is really interesting, because a lot, there's a lot of historical art in Haiti, but it's about the revolution, its heroes, and so on. What you are, I think, doing is painting the contemporary history. The other, Philomeno Ban and so on, painted a certain period of Haitian history, as well as But this you are taking it a little further, which means that you are also you're following within a particular tradition, I think, of certain kind of paintings, painters of in Haiti who also, for whom history and memory is absolutely important. And so that's how I would see it. But if we could think a little bit about, therefore, the traditions that you think you painted. This is a little. How do you see yourself painting in what kind of Haitian traditions of art?
Yeah. Well, actually, I think I paint the way I feel. I easy to say. I don't think my painting fits like a traditional approach in Haitian art. People, there are more people who paint for consummation, for a certain public, what is, as I said, beautiful painting, sceneries and stuff like that. But I kind of paint for myself. I put things that I drive something into me, and I express myself. If people like it, they like it, but it's not something, it's not a product, like a commercial product that I paint. So there are that many people who go into history, I would say, in Asian art. And I don't know, I don't think I fit into a certain tradition.
But you are a Haitian painter, or
I'm
you
a painter.
consider you consider yourself a Haitian painter.
Yeah, I consider myself a painter from Haiti. Is there such a thing as a Haitian painter?
Ah, okay, all right. So yes, all right, nice.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm more of a doer than a theoretical painting.
Yes.
A person. I don't. I don't know. I'm spontaneous in what I do. Though. So I let other people talk about it.
Yes. And that's what art should be. You should
Yeah.
let others talk about it, but But I also want to talk to you a little bit about the next piece, if we could look at the next piece. This is to come back to, this is your uncle, or done in memoriam to your uncle.
Yes. Yeah. It kind of.
So there's a preoccupation with this, personal, deep personal preoccupation with this, with the movement and the events of 1960s.
I think I was really, I wouldn't say traumatized, but I was hit by that execution, and it kind of it was like a rope on my head for some time until I expressed it after Duvalier was gone. And that cross that you see on the bottom is a cross that was put by Monsignor Romelus at the place supposedly where those people were executed in the Vespers. So when, after the overthrow of Duvalier, we could have gone there and pay respect to them. And you see that there is some kind of a new day, there is some light coming to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that something just popped open, I would say, in my head from there on.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know, is that okay with you?
No, that's absolutely fine. I'm trying to think about I'm looking at the actual rope though, and trying to think about the way in which the person's head is actually lassoed onto a beam, and then there's a photograph on my left, which is and then trying to think about the relationship of that photograph to the actual painting itself.
It's somebody had shown me a photograph of that execution of my uncle, and he thought that I would appreciate having it, and I put it into the painting and I kind of make it in like a trompe-l'oeil type of thing, you know. But it's really painted. It's not a picture. It's painted.
It's painted.
Yeah, but it's I give myself a challenge to put some life into it.
Okay, good. Can we have the next one? Sorry, yeah. Yeah, this is also an enlargement.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's and then the next one is let's talk a little bit about this because you paint a lot of these scenes in Haiti.
Yeah, this is an old painting. It's a painting that maybe in the 1980s, 70, 80. So it's, like the market scenes are full of colors. And it was one of the first market scenes that I've put in, really wanted to show those lights and darks. And so it was, this is, I think it's a 36 by 48 painting. It's already like the first size painting. And that someone sent me the picture that he had acquired it. At that time, he sent me the picture the other day, and I thought that it's a period that was very important at the beginning. I thought it would fit into that interview.
Good. And the next one? Working on this now. Why you're going back to everyday and the street scenes? What is it that's pulling you in that direction?
Well, actually, I think the street scenes are like a scenery. It's like a theater where there are a lot of social events, like between merchants and people buying. There is some kind of an activity. There is a lot of movement and colors. It's like you don't see one person altogether. You see parts of people, and it's like cubism kind of thing. And it's this movement and that I try to put into those markets. In fact, these are some paintings that I had done a few years ago that I go back into it. I put them together and do something else with them. Like in this, I think there are 4 paintings there all together, and I make it into one. And I realized that it's like I was a writer who was writing words here and there, and now I'm making sentences out of them. So, and it's another challenge, but it gives you more of the atmosphere of a market scene. Although where every part was just a small part of them, where all of them put together give you more of a sense of what happens in a market scene, which are starting to disappear now with a lot of supermarkets, and there are just a few here and there market scenes that not as it was a long time ago where everybody used to go to a market to go buy products. So I kind of put things that I could disappear. I kind of immortalize them before they do.
You're trying to keep a memory.
That's right. That's kind of
Okay. And
very
that's part, and that's really a very important part of your work. It's always it's trying to keep a memory alive. You know, it's historical, but it's also trying very much to keep a memory alive for people.
and my painting always have a social comment, and like I would say, I put like people with the those straw hats, and they have baskets, a weaving basket, and at the same time you have a motorcycle, a guy with a helmet. So there is new and old, like next to each other. So I think that's a comment. That's a social comment too about evolution. I would say
Okay, good.
the old and the new side by side.
Yeah, both. Yeah, but also trying to keep the memory, just to make sure that we don't forget. Yeah.
That's kind
Um.
of adaptation. Yeah.
Yeah. So the next one, please. Talk a little bit about this pilgrimage.
Well, that's Sodo is a place where we have a waterfall, where they said that Virgin Mary had appeared,
Mm-hmm.
and people go there every year on July 15, 16 to go on pilgrimage. So when I went there, I mean, it was unbelievable. Like people all over the place, people, cars, taps,
Yeah.
what do you call that? Uh, Public transportation, everything. I mean, it was like a big mess, and that's this atmosphere again that I tried to put into it. There were some people with you see, there was a Rasta man. There were some people with their straw hats and people with their offerings that they want to bring to ask for benediction and stuff like that. So it's kind of putting that atmosphere back into plural composition. This I think I think I have at least
And then
four.
there's a face as well, Ralph.
There are
Here's
different
the
faces.
face. The
There are
face that
different faces.
protrudes. Yeah.
There are different faces here and there.
Yeah.
One,
This and then there's one here.
yeah, because I think like a lot of okay, mass of people has a soul from the, and when you kind of make eye contact with a person in that crowd, you kind of become close to it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go places, I kind of meet eye to eye with a few people, and I put these people into the paintings that I'm doing at that moment.
Okay. Can we look at the next one, please? Yeah. Again, another work in progress.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. Yeah, there are three paintings there.
Mm-hmm.
Those are different periods, and it's a challenge to try to make them fit because at different period you have a different scripture, writing, different style. But it's interesting, and you can it's like you can walk between these people and get into the painting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
but I think that what I noticed is that the way you for these particular market scenes or street scenes and or pilgrimage is that in doing when you do the everyday, you do the everyday with the crowds,
Mm-hmm.
and the everyday is not centered around one or two images, individuals, or scenes within a painting, but you
Mm-hmm.
are doing masses of people. And I'm trying to think, what does is it that, what do you, in your view, what do you think you are doing when you do the crowds as opposed to the individual?
Well, actually, it depends of what I'm painting. If I'm painting like a scene of a market, as I say,
Mm-hmm.
there you can find a whole palette of colors in it, and that harmony that goes into it, and all those darks and shades and lights, and that it's it's like it's a color a color challenge to
Mm.
harmonize all these things. And sometimes when I also paint portraits, that's what those big face, like the face on the right side of the painting. Yeah, there is a face because I think a face is interesting. The expression of a face is, and then the story about the person that I'm painting. So it's the same composition, I would say. And sometimes you find more faces coming out of those market scenes, and sometimes it's just the market scenes. But I have other triptychs that I've done with big faces on them too. So it's kind of the same, but it depends of the material that I have to work from.
Okay, great. Let's look at the next one. Yeah, this I know. If I think is we showed this in Colorado,
Yes.
2018, and you spent a lot of time talking about this, and because I think it's actually one of your favorites, quietly. Um, and artists don't have favorites, but I have a sense that when you look at this and we speak about it, that this is a real important painting for you. So could you speak a little bit about this to us?
Well, like this painting it talks about the moment, the overthrow of the dictatorship of the Duvalier, and where people took to the streets, all kind of people from all shades of people were to the street together, saying, "Well, they are gone, they are gone," and there was even some musician from the palace military band in like among the musicians, and like that's why you say the guy with the, how do you call that, the tumba, I don't know what it's
Mm-hmm.
called, who has a
Trombone, yeah, yeah.
trombone with the military hat on it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was funny. Yeah, but it was like a burst of an explosion of joy, and the composition of the painting, it's like an explosion too, with things going in all directions, and all kind of religion. As you can see on the right side, there are the people in white and the veve, the voodoo symbol on the bottom there. And on the left side, there is the cross that represents that the church is part in the overthrow of Duvalier. And when we went, as I say, to pay respect with that was my sister and my son on the bottom, the little kid behind the cross next to my uh, self-portrait. And I was more there. I was more like a viewer. I was observing in the back, and there are all these kind of symbols that I put together. And there is like the colors, a combination of blue and red, because when Duvalier left, the flag was black and red, so it was
Mm.
the return of the blue and red. So that's all these symbols that I sneak in the painting that are not obvious sometimes, but I know what they are, and everything I put in a painting has a meaning. Uh, so it's like clues to get people to get into the painting and look for things.
Yeah, I mean that, and that's one of the things about your art is that they are large. You do work on large canvases, but they also are always telling a story, and but they're telling us stories by, and you have to find the clues as as the viewer and probably and perhaps sometimes there's a huge clue, sometimes there's a small clue. for you to then begin to think about what the actual meaning of the painting is.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, it's you trying to tell a story about a certain period or about a certain event or about an individual, but doing it in very subtle ways that makes us as viewers having to work, not working, not doing hard work, but having to work, kind of work, a work of enjoyment, of trying to figure out what it is that this particular piece says is saying.
But I should say too that the painting is not open. It's not like a closed painting.
Right?
I suggest, and people can see their own thing. They put their own feelings and find things that are maybe there subconscious
Mm-hmm.
that I put there because I know what I've put there consciously, and there is subconsciously and unconsciously. I'm sure that there are things in there that need to be found even by myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
And
that's
makes it difficult.
that's what good works of art do. They operate on at many levels and are deeply layered. I want to ask you, but what do you, what do you think about Haitian art today? Where do you see Haitian art going? That's a hard question because, you know, there are many currents. There's not one, there's not one representative current of Haitian art.
Yeah, and
Historically,
that's
there's
a good
always been many currents.
that's a good part of it. The fact that it's plural, that it's not going just in one place,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it is because of the the Haitian society, the way Haiti was born was a mixture of influences from different people from different countries who came to Hispaniola at that time, or some, how do you call it? It was Saint Domingue, okay?
It was the entire island was called Hispaniola. Yeah.
Hispaniola. And there was the French, the Spanish, and the English who came in. And people came from Europe with slaves from Africa who mixed there and created a new nation. And so there is a plurality uh, in the Haitian society, and that plurality is expressed in the all expressions in Haiti, and the painting is one of them. And I think there are a lot of people who got to learn painting, some of them abroad, not in Haiti, and are open to new influences and all these things. And when they get back, everything get mixed again, and they have this tendency to a modern uh, Haitian painting that doesn't leave, I would say, the traditional painting alone. It gets inspired, it gets mixed with new influences, and it creates a new trend of Asian art. I think it's Asian art is alive in the fact that there are a whole bunch of people who try different things. And what I think we need is some kind of uh, some people who write about it and to make it how you call that, to get all those differences and what is common to think and put them into words. There is a word that I forgot what it is in English, but you have to have a support
Mm-hmm.
uh, for that to. It's like when they say that Picasso was inspired by African art, and it made it known, and they know Picasso, but they don't know the people who inspired him because they wrote about it and they made it in how you call it? They
I
put it
mean,
together.
yeah. Are you saying that, Ralph, that what you think Haitian art needs are people who would write about Haitian art, to write about its history, write about its influence, the influences on the artists, and get and begin to tell a different story about Haitian art and its depth.
I don't know. I think it's
And its
rational.
real
It's
contribution.
rational.
Sorry?
I think there is a rationale to put up in it. I mean,
Yeah. So
I
what
think,
is, sorry, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
no, that's what I think. I think so. I think there is something to be said about it to make it, to verbalize it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah. Okay.
uh,
Well, one of the things that I think that we need to do is to begin to document the archives of people like of the work of people like yourself, because that's the art is not possible without the artists. So that it is to begin to have conversations with the artists, to work with the artists, to see how can we um, do two things: create archives around Haitian art, but B, secondly, to tell a different story, to find out what you call the rationales, is what you call it, but to talk about the significance and the peculiarities and uniqueness of Haitian art as part of the Caribbean, but also as part of, quite frankly, the history of art.
yeah, it goes beyond Haiti. It's a whole. I think there is something that we can call Caribbean art
Mm-hmm.
because there are a lot of similitudes, similarities
Yeah.
in different islands, and all these things should be put together, and something will come out of it, I'm sure.
Yeah, and your work will be central to us trying to put that together. So thank you very much, Ralph.
Okay, thank you.